Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Self Love Sunday. And while I wait for some of you to join in, I just want to remind you to sign up to my newsletter. So you can do that by going to my website, which is www.yogawithjaina.com. Sign up and register to my newsletter because I've got some really good in-person events coming soon for 2025. Lots of exciting events coming up. So I'd really love for you to be a part of that. And I think it's really good to actually get in person and actually practice yoga together. Because I feel like obviously I don't really share yoga here on Instagram. I really want to be able to do that with you personally, one-to-one, whether it is online or in a class. So definitely sign up to the newsletter. Hi Fatima, thank you so much for joining in. It's really good to see you here today as well. So I'm just going to wait for a few others to join in and then I'll begin. And today is going to be, I'm going to be talking about my current yoga practice and what that looks like. So we'll just get into it. So I think first of all, I started practicing yoga when I was like in my teens, which was, a really long time ago now. I was in my early teens and, when I started practicing, I would practice like every day after school. I'd get home and do the yoga practice. And that meant just like going into my bedroom and just following a few yoga poses from a yoga book that I had. And that's kind of where it started. And I probably started off doing like 20 minutes of yoga asana practice back then. Thanks, Hina, as well for joining in. And then it started to evolve. So I started to go a bit deeper into it and wanted to then start exploring classes and actually going to people's classes. So then I started to attend yoga classes once a week or even twice a week if I really liked a teacher and connected with a yoga teacher, then I'd even go a little bit more often. And that was obviously when I was really starting out in the practice. And then things evolved and I started to go deeper into my yoga practice and did my yoga teacher training. And that's where I really discovered meditation. And so I was then starting to do a little bit of a longer practice. So I would wake up really early before, so this was later on. So I'd gone through my teens where I was doing my yoga asana practice after school every day. And then I started meditation, and what I would do, because I was at uni at the time, I would wake up really early, and I just have got into that habit from an early age and still do that. So I would wake up early, about 5:45, and do my asana practice and also do my meditation practice. And I really felt like this really helped me like so much, and it still does. And I still really advocate the practice of yoga, but also the meditation practice too. Hi, Jaina, thanks for joining in as well. So it's really, was really fundamental for me to do it in the morning. So to do it like first thing in the morning. And that's how I made it a habit. So I just started doing that every day. It was time for myself to rise early, to spend time with myself, to get onto my yoga mat, to move my body, to move my breath, and to sit with my mind and my thoughts and my emotions and sit within the space of my heart center. So that's kind of where it first worked, and it was working really well for me. And I went through that whole practice, up until the point when I had kids, and then obviously everything changes then. So I then couldn't really rise early because I would just be awake anyway with the kids or whatever. And I also was very exhausted and very tired, so I couldn't really do much of a practice. So my practice then became very sporadic, and I would say then I was like doing little bits here and there where I could. And even things like, I remember I wasn't able to really do a practice. So I would just, when I was breastfeeding or something, I would just try to focus on my breath and just work with my breathing and just practice mindfulness and being in the moment. And that was really useful and really important. But what I do want to say is I feel like when you become a mother and when you're in that space of mothering, I really don't think there is enough support for mums. And sometimes I kind of think about like, what would a world look like? What would our world look like if they advocated self-care and where the government actually spent money and invested in self-care and encouraged women and men, you know, to spend time on their self-care practices and to actually have yoga as a staple requirement in all schools. And I just feel like, especially as mums, I just don't think there's enough support. And I think when I was going through all that transition with having kids, it was just like, you just have to get on with it. If you can't practice yoga and you can't do your self-care, you just can't do it. You've just got to get on with it and just manage. And I just don't think that is okay. And it wasn't okay for me. I think I totally lost myself. And I think I see, you know, and I hear of experiences of other mothers going through the same thing, where they've lost touch with their self-care practices and they don't have the support. And I didn't have the support, and it was mentally like a real mental strain, and I really struggled with it. A couple more of you coming in, thank you for joining. And I just feel like that narrative has to shift around when women become mothers, and I think they definitely they need the self-care and they need the support, and I think the government needs to change that so that women do have that level of support, that there's money invested in them having time to be able to practice yoga and to take care of themselves so that they can be better mothers. Otherwise we just totally lose ourselves, and unfortunately I feel like that is happening a lot, and it's really sad to see that. So my yoga practice when I had kids became really erratic, and at the same time I became really erratic, and everything just was all over the place. I felt like a mess. I was a mess, and I know a lot of people will say, well, that's just part of being a mum, but I really don't feel like it is. I feel like mums need more support so that they can have that stability and that grounding and that village around them and that support, which just isn't there anymore, and I'm not sure if it really ever was. And I would like to explore different ways of bringing that back in and bringing yoga into that space. So I felt like then I really lost my yoga practice and I lost myself, but then I started to gain myself back. So I feel like then I was starting to get back into that routine that I used to have of waking up early. And this is where I am at the moment. So I don't wake up really early every day, but on the days where I feel like I have the energy to rise early, so I'll set my alarm clock for 5:45. And what I will do is wake up at 5:45 and give myself some space and time in bed to just like stretch, to open up, to slowly sit up in my bed. And it's probably not until around 6 o'clock that I actually get out of my bed and get onto my yoga mat. And I just ease myself into it, and I ease into like, what do I want to do on the yoga mat? It's dependent on how I'm feeling. So I work really intuitively. So if I feel like I need to do a yoga stretch in the morning, I'll do it. I tend to do my yoga asana in the evening. And in the morning, I really just want to get straight into my meditation practice, and that's what I end up doing. So there's a little bit of stretching at the beginning, and then getting right into my asana practice, and I will do that up until about 6:15 and really get into it. So the morning for me is really important that I do that. But like I said, I don't always get round to it, and there are some days where I literally am so exhausted, I'm so tired. You know, I'm like a mom, I have 2 kids. I cannot wake up that early. And on the days when I can't wake up that early, I will tend to, like, my kids will tend to wake up about 7, so I end up waking up around that time or just a little bit before. And if it's about like 10 minutes before, I will just take a moment, stretch in my bed, wake up, and then just sit on my bed and do a meditation. And that meditation will be like a grounding meditation. I will make sure I ground my energy. I will connect into my heart and into my core and into the core of my being. I will connect down towards the Mother Earth and connect into the earth to really feel grounded. I'll also go up and connect into the universal light. And there is a whole meditation practice which I teach and which I practice myself to then bring that energy from the universal light and from Mother Earth to come back up into my core and into my heart. And then I feel really centered and really grounded. And that really sets me up, and that can take about like 5 to 10 minutes, not too long. And so sometimes that's all I manage to do, and then I just get on with my day and I'm with my kids. But also during the day, a big part of yoga for me is yoga is a way of life. So it is practicing mindfulness, being aware of my breath during the day, being aware of how I'm feeling and my emotions, journaling and things like that during the day. And also just moving mindfully, eating mindfully, like all of that is part of the yoga practice too, which we can do if we're not on the yoga mat. And then sort of in the evening time is, again, after my kids have gone to sleep, that's my time for me. I tend to have like a warm shower, and then I'll get onto my yoga mat and I will move my body. And it's a much slower practice. So obviously I spoke about what it was like before I had kids, and my practice was quite dynamic. Whereas now I feel like my practice is very slow and mindful, and I just really like to close my eyes and just come into my body, feel the emotions and thoughts that are moving through me, and allow those to come up and to come out through the yoga mat. And I also feel like my yoga practice, because it's at the end of the day, my asana practice, it's a way for me to release the day. And also I feel like as well, like what happens during the day is you're so busy with the outside world, you become so disconnected from your body. So then when I go onto my yoga mat, I suddenly start to feel my body, and I'm like, oh gosh, I do have a little bit of lower back pain, or oh my God, my left hamstring is feeling really tight. And then I just become like aware of it. Become aware of my body, become aware of myself. And I feel like if you don't have that, and then say you just, put your kids to bed, whatever, have that evening practice, and you don't do yoga, you just sit on the sofa and watch Netflix, whatever, then you go straight to bed, you just don't have that release. You don't actually feel your body, allow energy to shift up and out of your body, and you just carry that heaviness and that tightness in your body. Your body becomes tighter and tighter and tighter, and then you're suddenly just having like issues within your body and stuff. So I really do feel like for me it's been prevalent to like really practice in the evening and to move my body. And again, some days it can be a longer practice. I can do around 20 minutes of asana, whereas some days it will literally be 5 minutes, but I do try and do my 5 minutes because it is a way for me to connect to my body and release like the stress, the tightness, the tension, and all those kinds of things. And it's also like, how does my yoga practice look like? I will literally do it in my pajamas at nighttime. So like I said, I'll have like my shower or whatever at night, release, and just cleanse myself, and then I will get onto my yoga mat and I'm in my pajamas. So it's not looking like really glamorous or anything like that. It's just a way for me to just move my body so that I can rest and go to sleep, and not carry the day into my sleep. Also, I would advocate for you guys as well, if you're into practicing yoga, to get to a yoga class, an in-person yoga class if possible. Online is amazing, and I do teach online as well. But I just feel like in person, when you can get those hands-on adjustments, oh my God, they are so good. And I love to give them as a yoga teacher. I love to give hands-on adjustments and to really feel like the touch, the hands are connected to the heart. It's really allowing that level of touch and connection with each other. So I really feel like that's really important. So like I said at the beginning of the session, sign up to my newsletter because I have got some really good events coming up for 2025. And also keep practicing yoga however it looks. Just keep doing the asana practice, because your future self will thank you for it. Like, trust me, when you get older, you will be so grateful and thankful that you practiced yoga. You might feel a few benefits now, but oh my God, when you're older. And I just work with people all the time. I see lots of different bodies and lots of different shapes, and I just know that the more you can practice now, then you'll just take that suppleness, that flexibility, that the way that you carry yourself, like even if you have like a fall or something like that, you can just like hold yourself up better. You just take care of yourself better. You're more mindful. You're more aware of yourself and your body. So your future self will definitely thank you if you are practicing a daily yoga practice. And that's what I want to advocate here today. It's just a daily yoga practice. And like I've just explained to you, I've shown you lots of different ways of how that might look. But I would really encourage you to do it. So I have loved chatting with you all today, and I will be back again next week. And you can also just continue to follow me on Instagram, follow my stories where I share more. And like I said, I've got some really exciting in-person events coming. If you want to know about those events sooner, then just DM me. But otherwise, please do sign up to my newsletter. I'd love to just like connect with you all there as well, so that you're the first people to know about those events that are coming up. And thank you for so many of you joining in. I really appreciate your presence here, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.